If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. This is Album of the Year. Or if it's not that, at least one of the best albums this year. SZA just dropped her new album, SOS, and I just listened to it with y'all guys together on Twitch as every Friday. If you're not a part of that community yet, make sure to follow me on Twitch. And I'm here to give my first reaction. After my first listen, this is not an in-depth review. It's more of like okay, I went into this with some expectation, and did it meet that expectation or didn't it? That's what we're going to talk about today, so let's get into this. Now, to put this into context, y'all need to realize that SZA has not dropped in 5 years. I mean, y'all probably realize that because y'all been waiting too. But Control dropped in 2017, and 2017 was a whole different landscape for music releases. And even back then, that album was amazing. And SZA, in the meantime, has only elevated to become a bigger artist. She's, garnered bigger placements, bigger features, bigger everything. We've seen her on multiple #1 songs, or at least multiple charting songs, be it the Black Panther soundtrack, be it more recent ones, like the Doja Cat thing, Kiss Me More, I think that's what it was called. I didn't really like that song, but she was on there too. And TDE being as inactive as it is, and now kind of being revived by Kendrick dropping, Mr. Morale announcing his departure from TDE, and Ab-Soul also dropping his album Herbert next week. That we were kind of like, okay, now we're getting something again. And SZA was always one of those acts that we were like, if she's dropping, it gotta be big. Because while Ab-Soul hasn't reached that high, placement of like commercial success, SZA has. And that's why there's a lot of weight on this new project. But it truly is, even after the first listen, and y'all know that usually after the first listen, I'm not so sold on a project, but this is one of the best albums this year, hands down. Like, I have very little complaints about this, and I'm so happy with it. This album, to me, perfectly mixes new experimental stuff with the old proven formula that has worked for SZA in the past. So more of like a very heartfelt R&B sound that still has a modern touch of modern production on it. Stuff that she's done on Control, obviously. One of the many strong points on this album, for example, are the hooks. I can only remember the hooks being as great from songs like Blind. Obviously, Blind is likely my favorite song on here. That hook where like the pitched up line of like Blind is repeated, bro, I'm elevating. Gone Girl was another one of those moments. God damn, that second hook, when that comes in, you're just like in another, sphere of the universe. So I was impressed. Another great example is Nobody Gets Me, and she's also dropping a video for that, so that is one of the songs that she wants to push off of here. But that song is dope as well. One of the best hooks on this thing, hands down. And she really pushes herself on this thing as well. We have stuff like F2F, which I still don't know what that stands for. Is it face to face? Is it friends to foes? Is it, I don't know. I originally thought it was called FZF, but it's F2F. I don't know what that stands for. But we have her trying some rock on this one. Like, what? Like, that I was so surprised to hear that, but I'm so happy that it's on the track list. I feel like the album wouldn't be the same without that track adding some diversity in there. And so her just stepping out of her comfort zone, even rapping a little bit on the interlude, so on the Smoking on My X-Pac thing, I feel like that was a great strong point of this album and proves that SZA is an artist that can elevate with each project that she drops. And that is, to me, one of the best things that an artist can do. It's not always about how great the project is individually, and I know I'm going to disagree with a lot of people here, but to me, one of the most important things to see is that the artist has improved himself from their last effort. And I truly believe that SOS is an improvement over Control. As I said, that's not to diminish the importance or the greatness of Control in any way. It's more so to say Control in itself, you got to see it within the context of it being her debut studio album. But it's being a great debut studio album. But this thing is her maturing as an artist, her trying new sounds, her becoming more comfortable in the sound that she's already established as her brand mark in a way. And even though this thing is pretty long, it's 23 tracks if I'm correct, it's over an hour in length, an hour and 10 minutes, this feels all like a great cinematic experience. It's not like you're sitting through the track list and you're just like, this all sounds the same. When is this going to come to an end? Like I do with a lot of artists nowadays, when they just put out these very long track lists to capitalize off of the streaming, mechanism of them playing just the beginning of each track. But SZA does it in a very good way. You really feel like she took those 5 years, and each song, she made it count on each song. Each song feels like she's devoted a lot of time into. They're not just there to be fillers, and that is very important too. On none of these tracks do I feel like they are filler tracks. None of these tracks is on here that is like, oh, she just put that in there to have something in between, and she didn't really think it was that great anyway, but it's kind of on there just to be on it. Nah. Each track on here is amazing. And, sometimes you're like, okay, well, this is a generic, SZA song. We kind of feel that with the first couple of songs we move into the track list. And you're like, okay, well, we've heard this before. But then you got to look at it objectively, and you're like, these are actually great fucking songs. And we're just used to such a high quality and such a high level of such a high benchmark from SZA that they don't even stand out like that. And that to me is just a sign that, bro, this is really something. Also, the features were used really well on here. Now, just looking at it, we had the Don Toliver feature on Used, which I thought was used pretty, no pun intended, used pretty well, because it didn't like completely overshine SZA. It was just kind of added in there. It didn't even need a Don Toliver feature. We had the leak without it, so I would have been happy with just, Don Toliver not being on there. But it didn't like take away from SZA's performance. So I liked that quite much. Phoebe Bridgers came through on Ghost in the Machine. Bro, Phoebe Bridgers killed it, and I'm so happy that she's on here, and I saw a lot of people were hyped about it as well, but she completely killed it on there. We had a Travis feature on Open Arms. Bro, Travis came through on this one. I have not heard Travis in his bag like that in a very long time. When I see a Travis feature, I usually want the Travis that does stuff differently from what he does solo. Like the Travis on, like, I don't know what to think of, but I can think of like that that Don Toliver track. I don't know what it's called, off of his first album, Euphoria. Euphoria is the name of the track. Travis Scott and Cash Page, Cactus Jack. That was like amazing, and I want him to do stuff like that. I can also remember the one with James Blake. Y'all remember that one? That one was crazy too, and he really came through on this one. This one was amazing, and SZA got that ODB, freestyle out of that documentary to put at the end, and her then rapping on those boom bap drums. Amazing outro. So I'm so happy with this. This is definitely one of the best albums this year, and I was so happy listening to it live on Twitch. So this is definitely going down as one of the best this year. Now that's my thoughts on this. Now I want to know what you think about this though. Did you like it just as much as I did? Were you like, as excited for it, and did you kind of like feel the same way as I did? All of your thoughts on this, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.